Hello and welcome. Today we are making something special. I am doing a challenge. A few weeks ago, the YouTuber Jezza posted on his channel a little challenge to dice a monster, or decide a monster by rolls. The rules are to determine the temperament. From 1 to 3 is a good person, to 4 to 6 is an evil monster. The next roll determined the number of limbs, eyes, and last the skin color and the hair color from red, blue, green, purple, pink and yellow. My minis don't have skin color, so I just made my main color and my secondary. Yeah, and I rolled a 2 for my temperament, so it's going to be a good guy. He has 6 limbs, 3 eyes, and his primary color is green and his secondary color is... So I began with my building. I had the separate Adeptus Mechanicus Guitari body and got to work. I first sorted my bits and get an overview what I can build. Then it came to me, some sort of a 4-armed priest. So I grabbed this double poach and carved the back of it and filled the gap. I attached the self-made book to an arm with an open hand. After I attached the arm, I had this open walking pose. Also, I wanted to use this taser and this bolter. To make the third eye, I attached a servo skull. I changed the position of the bolter arm to remain this open position. Then, to underline the holy figure, I made a crappy halo out of a part I think was super glue, ring and clay. It was painstaking to make this clay to stick on the ring. To give my figure now this 5th limb, I snipped off the end of the arm and glued it under my book arm. To fill in the gaps, I used a trick I saw from the YouTuber Artis Opus to use a bit of the plastic, your plastic snippets and your plastic glue to make some sort of a plastic blob to fill in the gaps. Here you see I attached the head to look into the book, but later I changed it to look straight forward. To get 2 birds with 1 stone, I used the 6th limb to hold my halo and to attach my halo. And here you see my finished build. Now moving on to the base, I wanted to use a bigger base than the normal 40mm base, so I used this empty bottle and cut off the end and sanded it to size, and then I began building. Because I have my green main color, I wanted to do something with plants, and I have a lot of fake plants. I began with laying down my foundation of clay to determine my borders. I smoothed it out with a bit of water and begin giving the base some life. I first added the block of clay to get a better stick of my plants to the base, and then I began to lay out snippets of flowers and leaves and longer leaves to resemble some vines. To contrast my flora, I used my snippets of the base to make some sharp stones or metal parts to give it more of a vibe that it's the holy saint of the plants or something. I make this up as I go. And yeah, off camera I added a bit of cork to give it more variety of materials. After I let it dry a few hours, I painted everything in a white primer. Now to the painting part. I started with a dark green to paint up my coat, but I will brighten it up later. After that I painted the arm separately in a lighter green, but later decided against it because it looks very awful. Then I tried myself again at my stippling technique I tried out in my first video, and now I learned to remove the paint first and then apply it, and now it looks much better. Now I'm painting the arm over with a metallic dry brush to give it more of this metal and not cloth vibe, and then colored my bolter in a nice dark metallic red to get in my secondary color. Next up, the taser. I decided to try something new and go for a nice wet blend between red and a light orange. I think it turned out very good. You see, I was going back and forth to get a nice transition. I made the metallic part again in my beloved red metallic. I think this color looks very good. Then my pouches, I mean the book, I painted in a light brown and the ornament in a gunmetal silver. Then I painted the gloves in a darker, more leathery brown. My next step was to paint the power pack again in my dark metallic red, and then the top in a sort of a short wet blend between my yellow and my red, the energy coil. Then I painted the body in a light green, but it looked very unappealing, so I changed it to in silver with a reddish dry brush later. But in between I painted both halos in a nice gold color. I painted the sigils in a very light red and the paper in a bone white. To simulate lettering, I grabbed myself my self-made black wash and swiggled some lines on the book and the sigils. Now going to the base, I painted the biggest part in my three main brown colors I used through the project. Then I mixed myself in dark grey and painted the stones. In between the shots I dry brushed the stones with lighter grey, and now going over to my plants in my dark green color and highlighted the tip with a lighter green. Now you see I was going for the flowers. I used in yellow and red and in violet. I mixed myself. At the end I gave the model a nice gold rim because it's a holy person who deserves something nice. And here you see everything together. It was a very fun project and I had a lot of fun of making it. So let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of this kit bashing, and don't forget to like if you enjoyed and dislike if you didn't, and see you next time.